From the moment I open up my eyes, there's one thing that stays on my mind. The Love Her Show with the duo. You gotta love her, praise her, treat her right. Let your life reflect all the beauty that's inside of you. You gotta love yourself. Let the best of you shine through.
Welcome, lovers. Welcome to the Love Her Show with the duo.
Yeah, so good to be with you all again. I'm Kelly Fisher.
I'm Tana Gilmore.
And together,
we're the Matchmaking Duo. Well,
So
welcome back. This is episode 9 of the Love Her Show with the duo.
this is. We made it to another week,
Yay.
which is awesome. So for those of you who are just joining us and for all of you who are just coming back, this is a podcast where we're life and relationship coaches and professional matchmakers. And our show is basically all things love, life, business, and bliss.
Yes, and we're also authors of our book, Relationship Do-Overs. We're certified life and relationship coaches, professional matchmakers.
We are. We're Essence bloggers, which I love. I love writing for Essence.
We love Essence.
I love
they
the
are
audience.
the best. Our family are the best. They're the best.
They are. We're keynote speakers, workshop facilitators. So
you name it, we do it all. We
Yes.
do it all.
And oh, wait a minute, we were just featured on Classy Living Chronicles, a magazine.
We were, so if you all have not subscribed
so
to the magazine, Classy Chronicles, please do. So we're on the cover, and we have an amazing article, so nicely written. We're so thankful, humbled, and honored to be featured.
It's so classy.
It is.
Which we love. So if any of you ever had a question about matchmaking or any questions about us or our business,
it's
shoot
all in
over there because
it's
they did
a
wonderful
they did
job.
a fantastic job. So we're so thankful.
So proud of it.
Thank you, Classy Living.
Thank you, Classy Living. So we hope you all had a good week since the last time we connected with you. And today I think we're going to tackle episode 9,
yeah,
is it?
We are. But first I want to ask you how your weekend was.
My weekend was actually fantastic. My birthday, this is Kelly, my birthday is coming up. Oh, so she's telling me to ring the bell.
Ring the bell, ring the bell. I want to ring the bell.
Oh, now she's ringing.
No, I'm ringing the bell.
Can I clap? She's ringing the bell.
I'm ringing the bell. Kelly's birthday week, everybody.
Yes, it is.
Ooh, I have a special tribute for Kelly.
Oh, my. Oh.
Happy birthday to you.
Karaoke.
Happy birthday to you. Go, Kelly. It's your birthday. We're going to party like it's your birthday.
Woo. I'm cabbage patching it, bringing it back.
I'm doing the running man. Running man. Running man.
I have to pass this to you, too. I wish they could see you.
We're doing the snake. All up in here. Bring it back.
In here being silly, I think, because we had a crazy day. So sometimes you just got to take it down.
But if anybody knows Kelly, she celebrates her birthday like all month.
Let me tell you,
all month.
Because you know what, the birthday is such a big deal. Because to me, it's with so many things going on in the world, and with your family and friends and people passing away early.
Yes,
look, if I make it, when I make it to another year, darn it, I'm going to celebrate.
Yeah, she does,
and I celebrate all month long. So let April come, and I've got my plans. So yes, last weekend I went and spent some time with my high school girlfriends. And we've been friends for over 30 years. But you know what? We did, and I was telling Tana, we sat there and did nails. I mean,
That's so fun. That's so girly.
That was a serious girl weekend.
So girly.
Any man, I know one of my girlfriend's husband, where we were staying, he was looking at us like, I want no parts of this. We were just giggling.
Like, you guys are a bunch of teenagers.
Yeah,
you're taking it back to high school.
Ratchet TV, and what else did we do? Oh, we went to the Kennedy Center and saw Chicago with Brandy, and so that was fun.
That was great, huh?
Yeah, so it was nice. That's a kickoff to the birthday month.
Yay!
And how was your? Oh, I saw you did some things too this weekend.
Yeah, I ran a 10K.
Yeah,
on Saturday. Unprepared and all, but I did it.
That was great that you got back out there, because I mean, Tana's a great runner, and I know you've done half marathons and all kinds of things through the woods, and so getting back out through the woods, over the river and through the woods.
Yeah, I have.
So I mean, getting back out there, hey, 10K. I told Tana like the first mile, I'd have probably been laid out somewhere.
I was tired. I wasn't prepared, but you know what? Just getting out there and just doing it.
It's good to show up.
I'm never going to win my age group, so I already know I'm never going to win my age group.
You just might.
But I will always finish. I will always finish.
Please, I've been at many a marathon. My sister and her husband run marathons. I've been at many. The New York one, I mean, we were long done, and people were still bringing it in. We were cheering, because I mean, it's really more about you getting out there.
Yes, it is.
Than finishing for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Unless you're trying to win the marathon, which,
so,
you know.
I wasn't in last place, so that was great.
Well, that's good. Hey, you were there when you strapped up your sneakers and got there. You were in the frame, as we always say. You were in there.
So today, our topic is from surviving to thriving after divorce or a breakup.
Or a breakup. Yeah, but yeah, that is.
Sometimes the breakups feel like a divorce.
Oh my, yes. When you've been in something for a long time, because you're so used to the person, you know, you've almost built a life around this relationship. So it's a breakup, but a divorce definitely too.
Oh my gosh.
Is rough.
It's rough. And so we were, you know, watching social media all weekend with Janet Jackson's split from her husband.
Oh gosh.
And, oh my gosh. And they just had that baby.
And Angelina and Brad.
Oh my God. Angelina and Brad.
Yeah. Mary J and Ken Do.
Oh my goodness.
I'm
telling you, these people are celebrities, but hey, their lives are impacted too, just like you and I.
They're going through the same thing. As my dad used to always say, they put their pants on the same way.
Hey, stress is not discriminating.
No, and a broken heart doesn't discriminate either. So it doesn't matter, as we all know, how much money you have.
No, it doesn't.
It's awesome to be in love. Can we?
Ooh, that's a great feeling.
It is the best feeling to be in love. She's over here smiling so much. Just back to those those
butterflies and those goosebumps.
I can't wait till he calls and staying on the phone.
And then you see his name pop up on your phone. And you're like, oh my God.
Yes, that just stops the day. The birds are chirping. Everything is great. So
it's amazing.
We get it. I mean, it's almost like bringing two souls together, especially for a marriage. And that's something that helped me too after my divorce, because I was like, this really hurts.
Oh.
And a pastor told me, he was like, you know that these are two souls that actually join together.
Yes, that's right.
So what you're experiencing is pulling those two souls apart.
Ooh, that's some pain.
Now that's pain, and that's exactly how it felt. So I thought, so I'm not crazy. This is very hurtful.
And you know what? There's nothing that you can take for it. So you can't take Tylenol, ibuprofen. I don't care if it's Vicodin, whatever it is,
Oxycontin, none of that.
Relaxers, whatever it is. You can't take anything.
Because when you come back out of it, it's still there.
It isn't. So the only thing that's going to help is time. It's just time.
It is.
That's it. So you can't take anything. So just know that it's going to hurt for a little bit, but you will get over it and you will get through.
Yeah, and so many people said that, but I mean, now being on the other side, I can say you definitely will get through. But at the time,
I was like,
I was laid out. But especially too, just having that personality of wanting to win at everything and just feel like a failure. That was my first feeling. Like I was more embarrassed than anything. And a lot of our clients will say, I'm embarrassed. A lot of people saw, we're rooting for us. We had this big marriage. And everybody was there. They witnessed our love. And now, 10 years later, 5 years later, 8 months later.
Sometimes a year later.
Yeah.
It's not working.
Falls apart. So that is, number one, it is embarrassing. So can we just say it's embarrassing?
It's embarrassing.
Just put it out there.
It's embarrassing.
And I think, we mentioned it before. Some people can get into a divorce and have a divorce party and they're celebrating. A lot of times I think that's because they might have, not been in that deep of love to begin with,
Or sometimes they're so happy to get out of a rough situation. Maybe it was just so painful and it was so rough for them that they're excited to just, renew and to get out of it. And I see that personally. I probably wouldn't celebrate with a divorce party because it's just not something it's just not my personality. I don't want to celebrate the loss. It's a loss.
It's a loss. It's a loss. So, we get it with some people doing the divorce party, but I would say the majority of the people who, have gotten into it and were really rooting for it and hoping that it would work, it's not
gotten into it for the right reason.
Yeah, it's not the best.
And so we know, we know we've been this is my second marriage, so I've been divorced, so we both know how it feels to be divorced.
Not fun.
It's not fun at all.
But we do have some hope for you. We have some survival tips that we can pass along from ourselves and from clients who come to us.
We absolutely do. So, and we always say that divorce is only an option when you've exhausted all others. So make a checklist of everything that you have tried first.
That's so true.
If you've gone to counseling, if you have went to, speak to people that you trust, or, your spiritual advisor, whoever that may be, if you've done all of that and you can really say, I've done it all and this is not working and this is no longer working for me, then we say do what's best for you.
Yeah,
Only you can make that decision.
Yeah, you want to make sure that you left it all on the line. Yeah. And that's one of the things that will definitely help. If you think that, there's maybe something I can do, or you're getting out of it because of pride, and saying, well, he's just not going to do this. He's not going to win.
Yeah.
That's not the right way to do it, definitely. And we've seen how that backfires too. A lot of times some of our clients will say, well, I left and thought that he would come back, just because, and he's long gone.
He is bounced.
Yes. He
Deuces.
is gone.
He is gone.
So we definitely would
Don't
say,
do that.
if you're thinking of divorcing and thinking, I'm going to show him, you are going to be shown.
You're going to be showing yourself.
Yes.
Showing yourself lonely.
So, exactly.
That's what you're going to be doing.
So that's a good point. So make sure you have left it all on the line.
You've done
everything.
You've done
exhausted absolutely everything.
Everything. And so before we get into the tips, it makes me think about a time when we had some friends that was considering a divorce, and actually they were about to separate. And so, you need some people that are going to be rational thinkers for you. I mean, we had to rally through and sit there and talk to her and say, okay, so let's put our minds together. Let's think about what you need to do. The first thing you need to do, I know you've made the decision for the divorce, but the first thing you need to do is make copies of everything that you have: bank statements, life insurance policies, joint properties, copy of your retirement plans, joint business ventures. I mean, just in case things get ugly. Now, we're hoping that they don't, but just in case, you want to cover and protect yourself and your family if you have children.
That's true. It's hard to get all that information afterwards because you don't have account numbers. If you're just high in money, you're like, what, I'm leaving.
I mean, people say, so this one situation where we had a friend, I mean, he went through and started, taking money out of accounts and stuff. And so we had to rally together. A few of us girlfriends got together. We went through that house and we started to take TVs off the wall that still had the warranties and take them back. I mean, we had to go through it. I mean, that's something that you have to do. You have to get your girlfriends together and you have to do those things just to survive.
Yeah.
Just to
if
survive.
It's an ugly thing. I mean, we're hoping that it's not something like that, but if it's something that's just gone south.
I mean, the reality is, poor Mary J and Ken Do. I mean, they're going through it, and our heart goes out to both of them. Yeah,
definitely.
but that is ugly.
That is ugly.
We don't want to go through that.
So that is one thing that you want to remember, especially because it's more transitioning from the whole loving relationship and then a bad relationship to almost a business deal.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to a contract of, what is yours, what is mine, and that. So you're moving toward a business relationship, and in business relationships, you need to have some backing and some proof of what you had. So that's a good point.
Get your financials and your affairs in order.
Yeah. And I would say the second thing is, so after you've gone through the divorce, take some time to mourn the loss. So it was, to me, looking back on it, divorce is a loss. It's a loss. Death. It is. It's really a loss. So, for you to just keep on, some people will throw themselves into work or just keep on moving and just try to act like it didn't happen. A lot of people say, oh, you'll be fine. I don't know what they're basing that on, but you will be fine. But, that's not always the advice that you need at the time. So I would just say take some time to mourn the loss. For me, I know I uprooted and went to Charlotte, started all over again. There was an opening at our company that I was with at the time in Charlotte. So for me, uprooted, relocated just because I needed a whole new platform. I needed to have space and peace without negativity, negative people, negative advice, just, all of that to start over and really replant myself and really get back to, making a plan for the future. But I think I joined a church, and I'm telling you, for me, it was more building my faith. And I think, because no one knew me at the time, which was fine, not a soul. So I went to a new church, and I think I cried my heart out at the altar for about a good 6 months. Poor pastors, I was laid out. But in hindsight, it really helped. It helped me to get it all out. And I think a lot of times when we meet clients who come to us, we can see it already. They think that we can see it because we've been there.
Yeah.
So they think that they're, doing different things and they're getting stuff done, but we can see the hurt. And I think that's how, if someone looked at me at the time, they could see the hurt.
Yeah, they can.
As soon as before, it probably preceded me at the door.
You think you're hiding it, but you're really not.
No,
you can see the pain all over you.
Yeah, it either comes out hurt or like an ice queen or, in different ways, or you come out angry or you're just negative. So we don't want that. So take time to mourn, cry, do whatever you need to do, of course, as you're still going about your day.
Yeah, and if you think about it, you've been an individual for years. I mean, sometimes our life has revolved around him and the kids, and you have to rediscover the prize that you are. I mean, sometimes you have lost that along the way. You used to be, a cutie patootie. You used to be a cutie patootie and a prize, and you still are. And so you have to rediscover that, and you need more to talk about, other than your kids and that man and that job.
Right, because that was your life at the time.
Yeah, that was your life. So, because your next man really don't care about your job and
true.
your past relationship at all.
No.
So, I mean, you just need to rediscover who you are and really, and then make this a point to say, you know what? This is who I am. I'm rediscovering me, and I'm a new and improved me.
Yeah, and learn from your past mistakes. So learn from the mistakes, the things that you contributed to the relationship, because there's always two reasons. When you kind of look back at it, there's two reasons why the relationship failed.
It's not one-sided.
It's not just him. It's not just you. There's something somewhere that you contributed. So it's good to uncover that, I would think, what your contribution. Yeah. You can probably say all night long what he did. Without any prompting, but it really takes a lot to dig in and see what you did, but what you would do differently, because that's really important to know next time. You don't want to bring those things, whatever pattern he complained about over and over again that you kept hearing over and over that, was aggravating him or whatever. There might be some truth to that.
So, and I always say, it's so funny because I always say, hey, if something ever happened, God forbid, I am going to make it hard for the next woman to come behind me. I'm telling you. She gonna have some tough shoes to fill because I do it all. So you name it, it's done, and that's just how I roll in my house. But
it took some time to get there.
It took some time to get there, but I'm gonna make it hard for her to come behind me. So I mean, if you adopt that mentality that oh no, she's gonna have some tough shoes to fill. I mean, adopt that going forward,
especially when you find someone who's deserving of it. So I mean, those two things go hand in hand. And I would say, do some things that make you happy. So that was the next thing that I had to do. And Tana was talking about rediscovering yourself, and I mentioned that in the book, Relationship Do-Overs. So I often tell the story about, how someone asked me, somewhere right after my divorce, Kelly, what do you like to do? And I lost it. Okay. I don't know well, now I do in hindsight, what made me get so emotional, but I had no idea.
Yeah. I don't know who I am. You tell me.
I know. So, pre-marriage, I was like, wow, I used to travel 4 times a year. I love to go to the gym a couple times a day. I would go out salsa dancing and doing different things. Oh, yeah. Well, I still do that. I do heels to the grocery store just because I like to wear heels. But, those types of things make me happy. So, I would say just go back to creating an environment where you're doing things that make you happy and seek joy in everything. So the flip side of that would be, eliminating everything that doesn't make you happy. Can I?
Yes.
Eliminate everything that does not make you happy. People,
work,
places, things, the job, if you need to, start another job, whatever it is that you need to do, because that will really help to propel you into this, newfound peace.
And sometimes and when we go back to the people, sometimes you may have to get rid of some people in your life that probably didn't mean to be there in the first place. They weren't meant to be there. So you may need to just do that social enema.
Oh yeah.
Get rid of them.
That's true. And it could be family, it could be friends. There's no, rhyme or reason, but you really have to create an environment that's supportive,
because some people are toxic and some things are toxic for you. So again, you're recreating your atmosphere, a positive atmosphere.
Yes, creating your happy place.
Absolutely. So we would also say get your trusted circle together. I mean, establish who is there for you and who isn't. I mean, since we're talking about your social enema, so you're going through a series of emotions that only a few people can really understand and won't judge you or him, because a lot of times they'll be all team Tana or whatever, and I can tell them about my husband, and they're over there looking at him with a side eye, and every time he comes in and he has this cloud over them, then they're like, you dirty dog,
and then they're like, oh, I never liked him.
I didn't think you should marry him.
That's when it all comes out. Oh my gosh, because there are people who are going to be so happy to know you're divorced. Now, those are the ones who are probably eyeing him on the side, but that's another story.
That's another story.
Yes, it is.
So just keep in mind who you share your
be ruthless sometimes.
Personal information with, and just again get your trusted circle together and share with them and be transparent. Share with them your faults, because you have them too. I had them.
I did too.
I had my my issues, and you know, he had his, but trust and believe I had mine too. So, you know, establish a circle that they're going to be there for you to support both of you in the event you all might get back together, as we did.
Now, see,
Yeah,
as we did. Could you imagine?
And there were some people that weren't happy.
Everybody, everything at the time, and then you got back together. They'd be looking at you like, I mean, if there are people. Well, there were people who just, you know, were so pro divorce and happy you're on your own and all that stuff. I mean, people who are genuinely happy for marriage, they would be happy. I don't care what happened. If you all are working it out, they would. You know, they're pro the institution of marriage, and they really hold it in high regard.
Yeah, so rewind, my husband and I, we separated for 2 years. I've mentioned that before in another podcast. But yeah, we separated for 2 years, and we lived in 2 separate houses and had 2 separate lives. We saw different people. We dated the entire time we were apart. But, you know, when I realized that I wanted my marriage to work and wanted to work on it, I did share some things with certain people. And some people weren't very happy when we got back together. They felt like I could do better, or they felt like, you know, you need to just start over, or just cut it as a loss. People don't ever change. Yeah. And I was like, listen, no, this is what I want. So either you're going to support me or you're not.
Right. And it's not like one of those things where someone's beating you down. And, you know, those types of things, when someone's beating you half to death and you go back, that's one thing. And they haven't gotten any type of, you know, help for it. But just general issues.
Yeah. Just, I mean, finances, wayward children, stress. I mean,
wayward, there goes that word again.
Everything that comes along in a marriage, we went through it. And so, years 7 or 8, it was rough. So we were like, listen, let's take a break. But, you know, and then again, we tell you, when you decide to take a break, be prepared for a divorce, because most of the time, you know, you're going in that direction. Fortunately for us, we, you know, worked our way back together.
And I would say, even for me, now that I think of it, so I know we put a lot of this in the book, but for me, I didn't realize, I don't know why it never dawned on me, but just building your man up. You know, I didn't realize how important that was.
Important.
It is extremely important. So we would be traveling, you know, Tana and I'd be traveling, we'd be working and bringing home money and doing all kinds of stuff. But if you're not building your man up to think, you make him know that he is all that.
He's number one.
A bag
of priority.
Chips. Yes. Yeah. I mean, they might not do everything perfectly, but you need to create that space in your household that he is just it. So that's something that I learned, which I'll definitely bring into my next relationship. But I had no idea. I had no clue.
No.
So, I mean, he did his dirt, but this is some of the things that we, you know, that I really discovered about myself. So, you know, you might be able to think of some things next go around that you would do differently. And you really have to search inwardly to find that.
So I'm laughing because we were at a friend's house a few months ago, and they're newly married, and, you know, she's from the island. So again, it's cultural. It's different. And she had this bell for her husband, like on Father's Day and his birthday, and he gets to ring the bell, and she would
on special occasion,
and she would run along and get him his drink or his chips or whatever it is, and I'm over here looking at her like
in front of everyone too. He was probably so happy.
So my husband was like, I want a bell. I was like, listen, do you know they sent us a bell in the mail?
Oh yeah.
Oh, they sent us a bell in the mail, and I called her and I was like, listen, do not get this started. This don't work over here in the Gilmore household. But
that's a good person to have in your trusted circle. So they're actually giving you some, you know, new tips and fresh ideas to keep everything fun.
And I was rolling my eyes, but yes, we use the bell in our household.
Get the bell going.
We use the bell.
I got my bell.
We use the bell in our household. It's so funny because we'll have friends over, and my husband will you know, show off and hit the bell, and he'll go run around for us. So.
Yes, he will, which is great. So let me see. So a couple last tips. I know we're just having fun here, but avoid, you know, the rebound at all costs. Yeah. So the rebound, now let's just say, can we just put it out there? After a divorce or even a breakup, it is lonely.
Ooh.
Because you are
used to ring the bell. It is lonely.
A bell for the lonely heart.
It is crickets.
It is lonely in more ways than one.
It is crickets after 9.
In more ways.
Ooh, yes,
than one.
Yes.
So what, you know, we would say is just avoid the rebound, because so many people, and I mean, we've experienced this too. You want to just get somebody warm and cuddly just to, can we get a movie? Can I just get someone to go out on a date?
Can I get a hug?
Yeah. Can I just have someone smile at me, or the phone ring or whatever?
Can I smell some cologne?
Oh gosh, yes. Can I just have someone smile and make my day and at least want to hear my voice on the phone? So, you know, a lot of times, though, that will really draw you in to go in the wrong way because you're craving. Just know that you're craving that kind of attention at this time. Right. Mm-hmm. So we don't want you to go down the wrong road. So you're going to have to embrace the loneliness and avoid the rebound at all costs.
Oh, yeah, because you'll be going down that road fast.
Yeah.
And then before you know it, you're in a relationship with somebody you don't even need to be in a relationship with.
Yeah. Because you knew when you accepted the call that it wasn't right.
You know that wasn't right. No. You know that you should not have accepted that call.
No, but I mean, we can at least put it out there that it is lonely. So just know that it's going to be a little lonely for a while, but you don't want to sacrifice, getting into another relationship just because, and then you're even worse off than you were in the past relationship. Because at least the past relationship, you all were in love. This might go...
It's lust. It is lust. It's not love. Lust, my friend.
Lust. Yeah.
That lust will take you down the wrong road. Mm-hmm. As we recall.
Yes. Don't do it. Do not do it. So we would caution you against that. And I think the last thing for me would just be know exactly what you're looking for the next time.
Yeah.
So take some time to think about like we said, what you brought to the relationship that was positive, because you did bring some positive things. So that is, one point what are the things that he just loved about me? So those are the things you'll be able to carry on, with your confidence in the next relationship. Mm-hmm. But then know exactly the type of person that you need next time. So of course, he had some great qualities. Write those down. But what are the things that next time that you can't do? So for me, I know next time I have to have someone who has a serious spiritual base. Mm-hmm. Because I've built my faith up at this point. I've overcome so many things through my faith that I can't go back. No, so that's something, I need to share in my next relationship. Yeah. So what are the things that you need to share in your next relationship that the non-negotiables?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And so I think that after we had gotten back together, it was quality time. I mean, Kelly, you and I traveled for years, for Monday through Thursday. I mean, I wasn't home. So you can't just leave your man at home like that. Sometimes it's your job and but you have to find ways to compensate that missed time. Yeah. Especially when his love language is quality time.
I mean, we should have been FaceTime.
We were not doing any of that.
Sending a little gift, leaving a love note,
I don't even know if FaceTime was working.
Well, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't back then. But we could have done
Skype
something.
Skype.
We had Skype. We could have been Skyping. We could have been doing anything. I mean, I would call him right before I went to bed.
Mm-hmm. We were running at the time. We still are running.
Of work and dinner and whatever we were doing, and presentations and But his love language was quality time. But I wasn't there.
Yeah.
So I wasn't.
You didn't even know at the time that his love language was quality time.
That's right.
So that took some time to discover.
I thought I was doing something by making all these delicious meals, and all he would do was warm them up, and I was taking care of my home prior to leaving. I'm thinking that was me being a good wife, but he didn't care about that. He could have had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and a pizza, and been happy with my time. So no, that wasn't it. So I would say for sure that me just discovering that was his love language. Quality time was important this time around. Right. So I make it a priority to just make the time for him.
Yeah, and a lot of our clients are extremely busy. So, we don't want to put you down if you have to go traveling all over the world, but make that time count when you're together. It may be that you can't do everything you want to do, like all the tasks that usually need to get done when you're home. You might need to cut them in half. Some stuff just might not get done.
Yeah, we have taken our clients' calendars and shredded them.
We have.
Like, listen, so you get 2 committees. So
right.
Pick 2.
You get 2 boards.
2 boards, 2 committees, whatever. Pick 2 because you don't have time for the rest of this.
Right.
Your dating life is priority. So what is important to you? Because when you get a husband, he's going to need to fit in and be integrated into your calendar.
Right.
He's not going to compete with your schedule.
And a little inside tip, a lot of times when we do introduce our clients who are female to potential candidate, and he sees that it's great to be, independent. It's great to have a lot of things to do. But if he sees that you don't have a minute, they don't see how they're gone. Are they gone? They're gone so quickly. They don't even know if we get to the first date.
Deuces. They're out of here. They're like, no, because she doesn't, after the first date, they're like, she doesn't have time for me.
No.
And we're like, yes, she does.
Yes, she does, because, most of the time our clients would not be doing all this.
No, they don't.
If they had a man.
They do.
But we have to try to translate that and say, look, she's just doing this now because, she's on this sorority. She's doing this for church. She's on the board of finance board at the church. She's in the choir. She's on the praise team. She's dancing.
She's doing philanthropic work.
Yeah, she's doing dance class at night.
And she's running her business.
Running her business, yes. Traveling to see family. This upcoming trip with the girlfriends,
all of that.
And he's like, wow.
And he's like, I have no place in the schedule.
Nowhere.
And I don't have any time for this. He's like, I'm out.
Yeah.
He's like Shark Tank. And for that, I'm out.
So yes, our clients rock, but we might need to cut it back just a bit.
Yeah.
So anyway, know exactly what you're looking for. And lastly, we want you to wipe the slate clean.
Yeah. And also, refresh your look. So, sometimes you look like you've been through some things.
Oh, I look like you look
like hell.
Well, really? Remember?
Hell.
Do you remember me? I mean, I'm one who really likes to get dressed up just because all the way from high school, I've always liked to get dressed up just because it makes me, not for anyone else. It just makes me, can I embrace being a woman? Is that okay? But after my whole divorce and by the time I moved down here, I look like death.
Yes.
I'm not saying yes. Well, you can say yes. I felt like that.
You didn't look like the Kelly that I knew.
Well, I didn't feel like it either.
No, so that's how we say, refresh your look and go out, get a new hair color, get a new haircut, or add some, whatever you need to do. Get some new clothes. Yeah. Go ahead, see an image consultant or whatever you need to do, but just, reestablish who you are, your look, and rediscover your look, because the problem is, again, you probably look like you've been going through some things. You look like you've been stressed. You look like, you've had the world on your shoulders.
And that's not attractive. It's not attractive.
That is not going to get you asked out at all.
And it's not attractive to you either, because that's
not even who you are.
No, if you think about it, when you have some clothes that fit, you have a great haircut, and you gone to the makeup counter, just got a new lip color or whatever,
your
nails are done, you feel great.
You feel fabulous.
So it doesn't even matter if you gained a few pounds.
No.
Get some clothes that fit. Even if it's a couple things. We always say, our clients, and even me, I always say, if I can't get into it, I'm not buying anything else.
But we changed that. We changed that. No, we can make anything look good. So you can make anything. You can make anything look good, ladies. We don't care. Whatever. Embrace the size that you are, and you can work on it. So you can join a gym, change your eating habits or whatever. But embrace who you are today, because that's what you're working with.
That's what you're working with.
And buy clothes that are
flattering,
fitting, and flattering for you today, with who you are today.
Yes.
So we say change your look and I think refresh it.
Yes, and also I mentioned to wipe the slate clean. So that's one of the things that we always mention. So whatever he did, the last relationship, we said after you analyze it, after you pick it apart, because you're going to be doing that anyway. The next person, John, has nothing to do with Joe.
They don't know each other. They do not know each other. They don't know.
The poor man that you meet next time, he has nothing to do with anything.
To do with it. He doesn't know what he did to you, why he did it.
Yeah. So just get a blank piece of paper, even if you have to have something physical or tangible to say this man has nothing to do with anything. So just give him a chance. You're trying to see if he's doing the same thing your ex did. He might have his problems in a different area, but just give him a chance. You'll find that out over time. But for right now, he has nothing to do with what John or Joe did. They don't even know each other. Right.
So, and then he has not. Just leave it alone.
Leave it alone. Yeah. So
leave it alone.
Do
give him a chance
to. That might mean you need to go get some counseling. It might need whatever. So until you're at the point that you can say, "I wish him well," and actually mean it and not tell a tale.
Yes.
Then you're not there. But once you say, "I wish him well," my ex,
and mean it,
yes, and really want the best for him,
and say his name after it.
Oh yeah.
Say, "I wish him well," whoever that is, Tommy, Matthew, David, John, whoever.
And I'll take it one step further. I started praying.
Ooh.
And that's rough.
Oof.
I have to start whispering for that. I started praying.
You can pray for him.
For my ex. Jesus. Yes. I want him to do well. Bless him in every endeavor. Because we have children together. Bless him in every area.
These kids need him. You need him. So you can start praying for him. That's growth for you.
That is growth.
And it helps
really
you heal.
A lot.
It helps you heal.
It does.
So try that.
Wipe the slate clean and do what it takes.
And let us know how that works.
Yeah. So I hope that helps you guys.
Thank you all for these,
for this time.
Thank you all for this time. And we hope that it has helped you in some way. Let us know.
Yeah, tweet us and let us know who's listening.
And let us know how you felt about it, and let us know how we can help you. Our website is thematchmakingduo.com.
Yes.
Our social media is The Matchmaking Duo. Twitter @MatchmakingDuo. Instagram @MatchmakingDuo. Please, please, please follow us. Yes. Subscribe to our podcast.
You can find it. We have some great speakers
coming up, but you can find us on SoundCloud, iTunes, and Google Play Music, and YouTube.
Yes.
So in all of our social medias, we post every Tuesday at 7 a.m.
7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Thank you so much. Have a great week, everyone.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
To embrace the love inside of you. 'Cause there Be your best lover, then you'll discover just how to love her, to unleash the power inside of you. It's something only